Hi traders, Hubert here from Elite Currency. Today's video will provide an updated wave and technical analysis for the NASDAQ. Here we go. So, as I mentioned in last week's video, we are probably in the process of seeing a quite significant top in most of the global equity markets, and the NASDAQ is no exception. I discussed how we are approaching now the culmination of many degrees of trend. In terms of Elliott waves, we're approaching the culmination of probably at least 3 big degrees of trend. So a sizable correction will be on the horizon very soon. But before I zoom into smaller time frames to look at what happened last week, I made a small change to my overall longer term wave count, namely how I see this correction in here. What I changed since last time is that I initially had this whole move since this January high to the April low here as one correction of this degree, of this let me just check it, of this minor degree of trend. As a minor, as in that's the name of the Elliott wave degree. Not that it's quite a large degree actually, but it's called minor. And then thought that we might be still needing another swing low that's not going to be too big, then another swing high before this bigger correction of these 3 trends is really complete. But I have since then changed my view because I believe that this move here, after this first big drop during January and February, we probably produced a truncated 5th wave. Why do I think this? Because generally these trends happen within trend channels, and waves 1, 2, and 4 tend to be the key anchor points for the channeling of a trend. And if there's an overshoot happens like here, then that usually can create a truncation afterwards, because simply this move here has gone too far too quickly, such that there isn't enough momentum left in the following move to create another high. So overall this then creates a better structure for me inside of here. Before that, this whole move was a bit of an awkwardly shaped correction. If this first swing up here is part of this impulse and completes this, followed by an ABC like this, that makes a lot more sense, because we then have a so-called expanded flat, which fits this structure very well when one analyzes it on a smaller time frame. And it makes a lot of sense in terms of how this channel here is behaving, and it's hit the same channel line at that point, which would make sense. And so I believe that we are in fact closer to a bigger correction than I originally thought. So now taking a look at this whole price action from a closer up time frame, just to locate you, this is here the truncated wave that I was talking about in the previous image, and here we have our expanded flat correction into the April low. And then like I mentioned in the last video, I believe that we're now in this last swing up. I think price was trading quite high up around here, and I was expecting a drop down, either because this is the top or because this is the wave 4. Currently I still believe that this is this final wave 4 of this whole upswing that happened here. Why? Again, because these swings, they tend to stay within these channels, and even though we've had this very significant drop, which was obviously major, this still also fits within a potential expanding flat of a smaller scale here. So this would have been the end of wave 3, which started down here. Now this could be the end of wave 4. This could also become more complex and go sideways for a bit longer before it makes an attempt higher. But overall, I believe that as long as price now does not go probably below 6,900, so it might test this bottom again that they created around 6,900, and test that channel line again, but I think it should not go any further. If we get another break lower, I think this isn't gonna rise anymore. But if we get a turnaround today, at the start of the New York session, then I believe there's a good chance that we will see another high, or at least a test of the previous high again before this entire swing is over. So in spite of the fact that from a technical perspective we broke very sharply downwards, we broke through the long-term moving average of the 4-hour chart even. If I just quickly show you that here, changing to the 4-hour chart. Now in fact we've tested it here, so it's come back to the long-term moving average of the 4-hour chart. The 144 EMA is what I'm using, and that's usually quite normal within wave 4, that it tests it, tries to go one more higher, and then will break down, and then that's when it breaks the 144 EMA of the 4-hour chart for good. That's usually what happens. So let's have a look at potential targets for this final move up. There's two ways of gauging that. We can either use the Fibonacci targets, and according to Elliott wave guidelines, if we have an extended wave 3 like we have here, then wave 5 tends to be either just the same size as wave 1 or 61.8% of wave 1. So if I now put my Fibonacci target levels onto this wave 1, and I shall reverse that so that I've got essentially a measure for how big that is, and I put it to the bottom here to the potential start of wave 5, then my 61.8% target would be right here at the previous high, around here, around 7,300, and the equality target, the 100% target, would be around 7,500. So those are two realistic targets for this final move. It wouldn't surprise me if we in a way get perhaps another truncation, just because we're so at the end of so many degrees of trend overall, going all the way back to at least 2015. So there's a good chance that we might not get a high, but we will at least get an attempt, I think, to that top again. Now, of course, the other way is from a purely Elliott wave perspective. One's got to just simply wait to see a full 5-wave structure to build from either this bottom now in a clean way, or if this correction becomes more complicated still, then at some point later on there should be another impulse going upwards, and once from that point we can count 5 waves up. Regardless of where it stops, we should then be able to very clearly say this is now putting a lid on this entire move, and we should see a significant drop starting from here going downwards. So there is a potential option to trade this to the upside, perhaps for brave traders. However, I would personally just simply wait for the completion of this whole trend and then consider short positions. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this small update on the NASDAQ. Interesting times indeed. If you're looking for more free education and analysis, check out our website, elitecurrency.com. Follow us on Twitter at elitecurrency or at Miranda_Hubert. In the meantime, wish you all the best and safe trading. Thank you.